Imagine this. What if you stumbled into becoming a revered holy man, a spiritual guide to an entire village, all by complete accident? That's the absolutely brilliant, ironic premise of Arcane Orion's masterpiece, The Guide. So today, we're going to dive into the story of a man who fakes it until until he might just make it. So, meet our protagonist, Raju. This quote, it just perfectly captures who he is. He sees himself as this guy whose life isn't really his own, you know? He's constantly being pulled into the lives and expectations of other people. It's this idea of an inescapable destiny that follows him everywhere, from a bustling railway station to a lonely prison cell and, believe it or not, to a sacred shrine. So, who is Raju really? Well, the genius of this novel is that he's two completely opposite things at the exact same time. He's a man caught between who he used to be and the role he's suddenly forced to play. And this really lays it all out. On one side, he's a corrupt, fast-talking tour guide who ends up as a prisoner. But on the other, he's seen as this wise, revered Swami. The Guide is the incredible story of this transformation, and it makes us ask a really tough question. Is it a real transformation at all? The mind behind this incredible story is the legendary Arcane Orion. His novels are famous for being set in this fictional South Indian town called Malgudi. And there, he just masterfully explores human flaws and what he called comedies of self-deception. And The Guide is widely considered his greatest work. It even won the Sahitya Akademi Award, which is basically India's highest literary honor. All right, so to understand the Swami, we have to meet the sinner first. Let's rewind the clock and take a look at Raju's beginnings as a really charismatic, but deeply fraudulent tour guide in Malgudi. This right here, this just nails his personality. Raju's defining trait is that he physically cannot admit he doesn't know something. He's the ultimate charlatan, always ready with a story, an answer, a piece of totally made-up history. And this one quality, this need to always be the guy in the know, it ends up shaping his entire destiny. You see, he starts out as Railway Raju, a shopkeeper at the brand-new Malgudi station. But he pretty quickly realizes his real talent is guiding tourists. The book says he has this almost supernatural instinct for spotting a customer. He could spin these captivating tales about any old ruin or temple, completely making up the dates and details as he went. He becomes the most popular guide in town, not for being accurate, but for being charming. But you know how it goes. Every great rise has a turning point. And for Raju, that turning point's name is Rosie. She's a beautiful, super talented dancer who's married to this academic who forbids her from pursuing her art. Raju is just instantly hooked, not just by her beauty, but by her passion. And well, this obsession, it sets him on a direct path to ruin. And his downfall is like watching a train wreck in slow motion. It happens in 4 clear steps. First, he convinces Rosie to leave her husband, and he becomes her manager. They become a massive success. But with that success, Raju gets arrogant and really controlling. He gets greedy, and in a moment of pure hubris, he forges her signature to get his hands on her jewelry. Of course, he gets caught, convicted, and sent to jail. Railway Raju, the great guide, is now just a common criminal. But this is where the story gets truly fascinating. After he gets out of prison, Raju's journey takes this completely unexpected and deeply ironic turn. His second life is about to begin. I mean, that's the central puzzle of the book, right? How does a guy fresh out of jail for fraud end up being worshipped as a spiritual guru? The answer is pretty much by accident. So picture this, he's too ashamed to go home, so Raju just wanders around until he finds this abandoned temple by a river. He's just looking for a place to hide out. But then a villager named Velan, who's having trouble with his sister, sees this educated-looking man just sitting there and assumes he must be a Swami, a wise holy man. And this is where his old skills just kick right back in. Remember, he can't say I don't know. So he plays the part. He starts dishing out this vague, philosophical advice. And guess what? It works. Velan is totally impressed and starts bringing him food. Pretty soon, the whole village is coming to him for guidance. And Raju, our former tour guide, finds himself with a brand new captive audience. Now, to really get what's happening here, we need to quickly talk about the concept of dharma. In Hindu thought, dharma is more than just duty. It's like your essential nature, the role you were born to play in the world. It's your true calling. And here's the really brilliant insight at the heart of the novel. You could argue that Raju isn't really changing at all. His dharma, his true nature, has always been to be a guide. Think about it. First, he guided tourists to fake historical sites. Then he guided a dancer to fame. Now he's guiding villagers towards spiritual peace. The role is the same, it's just the audience that's changed. But this role, it becomes a trap. A terrible drought hits the region, and because of a huge misunderstanding, the villagers come to believe their Swami has vowed to fast for 12 days to make the rains come. Raju is horrified. He's a fraud, not a miracle worker. But he's so trapped by their faith in him that he sees absolutely no way out. And this all leads us to the novel's profound and really ambiguous conclusion. The performance is almost over, and Raju has to finally confront who he has truly become. So in one last, desperate attempt to escape his fate, Raju decides he's going to tell the truth. He sits Velan down and confesses everything. His life is real way Raju, the affair with Rosie, the forgery, the prison sentence. He lays his entire sinful past bare, thinking, surely this will shatter the illusion and set me free. But in the final, perfect irony of the whole story, Velan listens to everything, and his faith doesn't waver for a second. To him, the confession is just another part of the Swami's mysterious wisdom. Raju realizes he is completely, utterly trapped. The belief of other people has become more powerful than his own reality. And so he goes through with the fast. On the 12th day, he's weak, he's starving, and they help him down into the dry riverbed. As an American news crew films him, he says these final words, and then he collapses. And that is where the novel ends. So this is the question Narayan leaves us wrestling with. Is the rain real? Does Raju genuinely feel it, having achieved some kind of real grace through his unwilling sacrifice? Or is this the ultimate tour guide, the master showman just giving his devoted audience the perfect ending they so desperately wanted to see? Saint, sinner, or simply the consummate performer right to the very end? That, my friends, is for you to decide.